Illman, Mike Beer, let's throw up the field for the Grade 3 Suwannee River at Gulfstream on Saturday. We're going a mile and an eighth for $150,000. Fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up, a field of 7. Starship Jubilee, 7-5 morning line favorite. She's banked $1.2 million. She is a Grade 1 stakes winner. And listen, her last race in the Sunshine Million, she had a great trip against overmatched rivals, but she really blew them away in the stretch.
She's just all racehorse, man. 15 wins, multiple graded stakes winner, way the horse to beat here.
And you can do anything with her from a pace standpoint. You could send her to the front, as you did last time. You can take her back just a little bit. Timeform US believes stalking Starship Jubilee will show up here. Great Sister Diane, the 5. Timeform US believes will be on the lead. Vow to Recover, the 4, expected to be in second position. Starship Jubilee sitting third. But something tells me that if Louis Size really wanted it, he could make the front here.
Won't be surprised to see her on the lead in this race.
Let's talk a little bit about the 1 Kelsey's Cross, who's going to be coming from far back and hoping for a little hitting up front. She didn't get that in her last 2 races. The La Prevoyante at a mile and a half in a race that was won in wire-to-wire fashion by Mean Mary, and the QE2 Cup in a race that was basically won in wire-to-wire fashion by Cambier Park. Both horses controlling slow paces. The latter a much better horse than Kelsey's Cross. Kelsey's Cross is also cross-entered at Tampa Bay. This is an easier spot from a class standpoint because there are no Got Stormies in here.
True enough. I mean, listen, it seems like there's something there with this horse, and she's supposed to be starting to take steps forward here as a 4-year-old. We'll see if she can do it.
I think she's a horse to keep an eye on down the road. We talked about it in the Endeavor Stakes preview. Good third in the Saratoga Oaks. Allowance win, a lot better than it looks on paper, and then dirtied up by pace scenarios in her last 2 races. The 2 is Smart Shot, and Smart Shot's really never been able to get over the hump against the stakes horses. Last time out, maybe yielding ground in the Grade 3 Cardinal worked against her. We'll go back to a race back in July at Ellis Park. This is the Ellis Park Turf. She's 5-2 in this race, and she does have to come very, very wide in the stretch, but she's just sort of one-paced in the lane, and when she's in against non-winners of 1, non-winners of 2, she gets it done. Not so against stakes horses.
Yeah, she did come wide in this race, but that's, sort of her running style, man. She doesn't have a lot of speed, so usually you're going to wind up coming around the outside in the stretch. She just doesn't look like a stakes horse to me.
If you want to beat Starship Jubilee, well, Chad Brown's got 2 horses with which to choose from. The 3 is Magic Star, who's still all upside. This is a daughter of Scat Daddy's, only raced 3 times in her career. Chad ran her in the Grade 3 Marshua's River off a pretty decent-sized layoff, 2.5 months last time out. Let's watch that race right now, and maybe the last move was the best move, and she does make the last move, but this is just start number 3. She's widest on the far outside. Andina Del Sur's a nice horse on the lead. Magic Star is going to go by her. She's green, as you can see with her lead changes, but there's talent here.
Yeah, it just feels like she's going to continue to move forward, too. It's almost like in this race, she's just sort of doing what she has to do to get by those horses on the lead, and she did that. It sort of felt the same way when she broke her maiden on Travers Day last summer. I mean, she had a good pace to close into that day, but it just felt like she only did what was necessary to run that field over in this stretch. She's got a ton of, it feels like she has a ton of natural talent. We'll see if she puts it all together.
Vow to Recover is the 4, and we remember Vow to Recover from Lake Placid Day, where there was just maybe the worst rainstorm in the history of Saratoga, and that's saying something. She had a really nice trip in that race. There wasn't a lot of pace. She saved ground with Manny Franco, and she just kind of was one-paced that day. Last time out, maybe they could have been more aggressive with her coming out of there and taken the race to Starship Jubilee. They didn't. It was her first race off a little bit of a layoff. I can see her moving forward. I think she's going to have to move a lot forward because it's not just Starship Jubilee this time, but a couple of others.
Yeah, I sort of understand what they were doing last time too. I mean, do you really want to take the race to a 2-5 shot who you probably can't beat anyway? They sat a trip, it didn't work out. I don't see how anything's going to be that much different for her in this spot.
5 Great Sister Diane, I've always been a little bit of a fan of. Not sure she's a graded stakes kind of mare, but at 15-1, maybe she can crack the exotics at a nice price. I liked her win in the Monroe with 3 starts back. Post 14, got a nice ride, didn't lose that much ground, was able to score at a big price. Wasn't embarrassed against graded stakes foes at Santa Anita 2 back. Then we got this race, the Tropical Park Oaks, and beaten favorite here, but I thought she ran okay. She's going to finish 5th. I thought for the most part, Mike, she had a good trip in here. It just didn't work out for her. Stepping up in class, I think she can do better second off the layoff.
Yeah, we'll see what she can do here. She obviously has to improve to beat this race, but it does feel like she, to beat this field, but it feels like she has improved since she was claimed by this trainer. You mentioned her Monroe win, which actually earned a solid figure from a tough post. The race before that, the first Stakes Star, she had a terrible trip that day and rebounded nicely to win that Monroe, so we'll see what she can do. She does have to get better.
And we saw her finish 5th in that race as the number 2, but it's worth noting, the Monroe is the outlier. That's the fig that puts her somewhat in the mix. The other figs, not so much. Starship Jubilee is the talk of the race. 15 for 33 lifetime, $1.2 million in earnings, Grade 1 stakes winner. And she didn't need to run a Grade 1 performance last time out in the Sunshine Millions filly and mare turf. Javier Castellano put her on the lead, went 25-3, and the race was over at that point, but they still ran it. And here's Starship Jubilee turning into the lane. This is what's known as a ridden-out victory. It was basically a public workout. She walked for 6 furlongs, sprinted home the last 2.5.
Yeah, I don't see why Luis Saez would really try to do anything that much different in here. Maybe somebody else will be on ascend here, but I got to believe he's going to come out of there looking to lead this field. And if she makes the front in this race and then shows up and runs her best race, she's going to be very, very hard to beat.
The X factor in the race, however, is right next door. And that's the number 7, Tap It Today, the other Chad Brown horse. This is a 5-year-old mare who's obviously had her share of problems. She's only run 6 times. Her most recent start, though, was at the end of December, so she's in pretty good form right now. This is a race off of an extremely long layoff. She's the gray at Tampa Bay. Chad just found the nice non-winners of 2 other than, and she does what she had to do. I think this is a perfect race to shake the rust off and get her back to her best form. And if you think that Starship Jubilee can be had, and on occasion she underperforms, this is a horse that I think there's still something here.
I was encouraged to see her come back and run the race that she did right there at Tampa Bay. It wasn't, a super strong field, but I just liked the way that she won it, Dan. They just kept her on the outside around the second turn. You saw how easily she just overpowered that field and ran away. Going back to her races prior to the layoff, I was really high on this horse. I loved both of her wins at Monmouth. They brought her up to Saratoga for the risk averse. She ran so much better than it looks on paper that day. They walked early and sprinted home, and she was actually gaining ground as fast as they were coming home. This filly has some talent and some upside. We'll see if she can take the step forward now.
And the winner of the risk horse had a perfect trip in that race. So Tap It Today was probably the best horse, and if not for circumstances, we'd be coming into this race on a 4-race winning streak. We take a look at our top selections in here. Mike's a big fan of Tap It Today, and listen, if you're going to get 7-2 on a horse with potential, with Chad in your corner, I say take it.
It felt like she could be the third choice in this race, which I appreciate. Listen, Magic Star has a lot of upside too, but I just sort of feel like maybe Tap It Today, this could be the spot to get her. It's not going to be easy to beat Starship Jubilee, especially if she makes the lead, but if she's third choice, I'll take a chance.
I'm not going to try to get past Starship Jubilee. She did have an easy trip last time out, but I don't think that's the race you're supposed to judge her off of just getting started back as a 7-year-old. Her big races speak for themselves, the E.P. Taylor, the Canadian, etc. 6-3-7-2 for me, 7-6-3-1 for Mike. It is the Grade 3 Suwannee River. It's the 11th at Gulfstream on Saturday. Approximate post time, 5:04 Eastern. Good luck.